Hello there. Welcome to Just the Discs. We talk about Blu-rays here, and for this episode, we are going to talk about Imprint films from Australia, a sub-label of ViaVision, whose discs I should mention at the top are region-free. That's something I need to emphasize for folks because they are imports, but they will play in your US player without any issues. And so I got a lot to talk about. A big old stack of stuff. And so let's get into this. I'll start with I'll start with the big one. We have this wonderful series that they've been doing, which is Film Focus. And I know that some have emphasized directors, some have emphasized actors. This is obviously an actor box set focusing on the films of Havey Keitel. And it includes, take the lovely box top off, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of Keitel's films. I want to say most of these are from the 90s, but, and then of course we have a lovely book that's included as well. These are really nice sets. I've always been a fan of the Imprint sets. But let's go through these here. I'll just take the box down and we can go through them one at a time. So first up out of the set, Bad Lieutenant. Now this is interesting because, and this seems to happen a little bit, the releases tend to coincide. We just had a 4K release of Bad Lieutenant from Kino Lorber, but this is just a regular Blu-ray release, and it's obviously a very big deal of a film for Keitel from 1992. Controversial neo-noir drama from cult director Abel Ferrara, who did King of New York, Driller Killer, Fear City, a bunch of cool stuff. And it follows a corrupt New York City police detective, that's Keitel, on a journey of redemption, but there's a lot of debauchery to be witnessed, and quite the spiral to see play out. This one, it's got some extras that I think are different than the Kino, so that's usually a trade-off. You'll see, for instance, I saw this with the Sidney Lumet box set that comes out. It has Serpico in it, but Serpico had gotten a 4K release already from Kino, and I think it had some different extras, so Imprint's really pretty good about getting some new interviews and such. This one has an audio commentary by director Abel Ferrara and director of photography Ken Kelsch. Now, I can't recall if that commentary was on the Kino. I should look that up. But it also has It All Happens Here, Abel Ferrara and the Making of Bad Lieutenant documentary from 2009. So that's very cool. And then All on the Line, interview with director Abel Ferrara. That's new. As well as Forgive Me, Father, Channeling the Lord, interview with actor Paul Hipp. Also brand new. Entirely Uncompromised, Dangerous Game and Bad Lieutenant, interview with composer Joe Delia, who apparently did both those films. Dangerous Game, of course, another Ferrara film, which just got a 4K release. Or was it? Yeah, a 4K release from Cinematograph. And I don't know if that interview was part of it or not. Let's see here. Editor Provocateur, Crafting the Chaos of Bad Lieutenant, interview with editor Anthony Redman, and Building the Making of Bad Lieutenant, interview with producer Diana Phillips, also brand new. So a lot of really nice features included on this new Blu-ray as part of this set. But that's a big deal film for him. I mean, that was, obviously he was an actor that sort of found his way in the 70s, collaborating with Martin Scorsese, among others, and, had some films in the 80s that, made a little bit of an impact, but I feel like in the 90s, he really kind of took over again, and this box set really kind of represents and then the other set that I'll talk about represents some of his like return to public. It's just kind of a comeback a little bit, I mean, I don't want to make it sound like he was down and out in the 80s, but he really seemed to crop right back up in the 90s with Reservoir Dogs and Bad Lieutenant. And okay, so then we have The Young Americans. This is from 1993. And this one is, you know what? I don't know if I've seen this, but this one has some really great extras we'll get to in a second. It's got Harvey Keitel and Ian Glenn from Game of Thrones, follows an American detective set on a case in London to break up a deadly criminal organization, and Scotland Yard calls in American agent John Harris from the Drug Enforcement Agency to help nip a budding illegal drug cartel in London. With the assistance of British policeman Edward Foster, Harris slowly descends into a crime-filled world in which street kids are used as pawns in a much bigger game involving international gangsters. Now, this is one that I don't remember if I ever got a chance to check out, but I do remember I was a video store employee in the 90s, so that's another reason Harvey Keitel was a big deal to me, because he was doing so many films, and things like this would come out, and I wouldn't even get a chance to see them, So this is one I still got to check out, but this load of extras is pretty great, I got to say. New audio commentary by film critic Bilge Ebiri, a very, very solid, film critic and film scholar. Enjoy his work. This is all new stuff. The Outsider interview with director Danny Cannon. Youngblood interview with actor Craig Kelly. No London I Recognize interview with producer-designer Lawrence Dorman. The Lighting American interview with director of photography Vernon Layton. And the Young Producer interview with producer Paul Tribjitz. So there's quite a few things going on here. If you're a fan of this film, or if you want to watch it and find out a lot more about what went on behind the scenes, this sounds like it's a really solid picture of that. And then we move up to another Abel Ferrara film. We have Dangerous Game. Again, mentioned that this came out from Cinematograph also, but there's some nice extras on this one as well. Harvey Keitel stars in this thrilling drama alongside pop star Madonna as a film director whose world is turned upside down when life begins to imitate art. This also has James Russo in a very intense performance, so intense that it's like the movie's almost a little hard to watch, I would say, because it really gets into two actors playing two characters who are going through some heavy stuff, in a relationship, and Keitel's trying to direct them, but he's losing control, and James Russo is really dark in this. While he's known for his experimental direction for Eddie Israel, nothing quite compares to the intensity of what unfolds on the set in his latest film centered around an abusive marriage. Yet more unsettling than the scripted violence is the fact that the brutality begins to seep off the set and into real life. I mean, it's a solid picture, but one that's maybe I'm good on, if I'm being honest. But yeah, Madonna's really solid in it. Really, I've always thought she was a little unfairly maligned as an actor. I think she does a nice job in this. I think she's got great comedic chops when she wants to. So it's unfair that, sometimes actors or, singers, pop stars, what have you, are really scrutinized in terms of their performances when in fact, they do a nice job. And I don't know what that's about. If it's just like, stay in your lane, you can't do this too, or what, but I think she's good in this. So extras, we have, and these are all new, Broken Hearts Down Broadway, Rewriting the Rules, interview with director Abel Ferrara. It's cool that they got him involved in a couple of these here. Primal Therapy, an interview with actor James Russo. Very curious to hear his recollections of this, as, like I said, he's very intense. Something Real, Cutting Dangerous Game, interview with editor Anthony Redman. So obviously Redman collaborated with with Abel Ferrara on more than one occasion. Dangerous Design, interview with production designer Alex Tavaleris. And Let's Try, upping her team's dangerous game, interview with producer Diana Phillips. So a lot of nice stuff on that disc as well. And this is from 1993 as well. Then we have Imaginary Crimes. This one's from 1994, so we're going chronologically so far. Imaginary Crimes is an adaptation of Sheila Ballantyne's 1982 semi-autobiographical novel, Imaginary Crimes, and it stars Keitel as a widowed con artist alongside Kelly Lynch, who's in Roadhouse and Drugstore Cowboy, Elizabeth Moss, from... The Invisible Man is a movie that she did, but she has her TV show as well that my wife loves. Fairuza Balk included there in this cast. Ray Weiler is a charmer who could sell the cookies to Girl Scouts. He knows he'll strike it rich if he just keeps hustling. What he doesn't know is that his pie-in-the-sky schemes are separating him from the family he so dearly loves. This also has some new extras. New audio commentary by critic A.S. Hamra, something called Crimes Confessional, an interview with director Anthony Drazan, and Composing for Crimes, interview with composer Stephen Endelman. So that's a nice group of extras as well. I think maybe my favorite in this set, I think this would probably be it. Clockers. This is Spike Lee's film from 1995, I want to say. Yes, 95. And this has come out from Kino already, but it looks like there's some new extras to be had here. But this is a cool Spike Lee sort of thriller kind of thing. Really enjoyed this one. A Brooklyn man... from iconic director Spike Lee and producer Martin Scorsese comes the critically acclaimed crime drama Clockers, starring Harvey Keitel, John Turturro, and Mekhi Phifer in his film debut. A Brooklyn man confesses to a drug dealer's murder, but a veteran detective suspects that the real suspect is the young drug dealer brother. So it's a cool one. I remember Scorsese producing it was a little something that I was like, oh, this is, I like Spike, but this is already something else, a little collaboration. So this has a new audio commentary by film historian and filmmaker Daniel Creamer, laying back in the cut interview with editor Sam Pollard, and plausible fiction, new interview with screenwriter Richard Price, as well as archival interviews with Mekhi Phifer, Delroy Lindo, John Turturro, and Spike Lee. So it's a really great cast, and that's another reason I love this. Delroy Lindo, one of the great actors of the 90s, but just truly a great actor. I'd like to see him featured a little more these days. He's wonderful. And then lastly, we have Holy Smoke from 1999. And this is Kate Winslet and Harvey Keitel. And it is from acclaimed director Jane Campion, and it acclaimed New Zealand director Jane Campion brings Harvey Keitel and Kate Winslet together in this scandalous romantic drama set in Australia. When Ruth Barron is brainwashed by a cult leader, Baba, on a trip to India, her parents take action with the help of religious cult deprogrammer PJ Waters. That's Harvey Keitel. And what follows is a psychosexual tug of war. Gets kind of hot stuff, ultimately, and features a soundtrack by Angelo Badalamenti, who did Twin Peaks and a lot of other stuff for David Lynch. New audio commentary by film critic Alexandra Heller-Nicholas. Audio commentary by writer Anna Campion and actress Kate Winslet. That's obviously archival. Reprogramming the Deprogrammer, Harvey Keitel and Jane Anna. Campion's Holy Smoke, video essay by programmer and archivist Elizabeth Purcell. And new Deprogramming Deprogrammers, interview with documentary film director Mia Donovan as well. So that rounds out this lovely Harvey Keitel set. And then we have the book, which has an essay by Scout Tafoya, and maybe some other stuff too. That's all I can find in here, but I'm sure there's more. Sean Burns, critic, also gives a little essay in there as well. So a very nice set from Imprint for Havey Keitel fans. Okay, so next up we have more Havey Keitel with this lovely dual set here. This is Wayne Wang's films Smoke and Blue in the Face. Sort of a quasi-sequel sister film to Smoke, which was a big deal at the time it came out. I remember it being just kind of a hit, and I really dug it. And so let's break this down here. So we'll start with Smoke. Smoke from 1995. And this one is based on the Paul Auster book. Or just written by him. Sorry, just written by Paul Auster. And it is about a writer played by William Hurt. Writer Paul Benjamin is nearly hit by a bus when he leaves Augie Wren's smoke shop. Stranger Rashid Cole saves his life. That's Harold Perrineau. And Augie Wren is Havey Keitel, so he's the one who runs the smoke shop. I remember he has a thing where he's taking a picture of his corner where his shop is, like, I want to say like every day. He takes a picture of it. So he has like this record of each day. And I always thought that was a really neat idea. Something that, you know, if I owned a business, I would want to do. Anyway, Harold Perrineau saves William Hurt's life, and soon William Hurt's character tells the homeless Rashid that he wouldn't mind a short-term housemate, and he's sort of still grieving over his wife's murder. So he's moved by both Rashid's quest to reconnect with his father and Augie's discovery that a woman who might be his daughter is about to give birth. So there's a lot of emotional stuff here, you know. The cast includes Forrest Whitaker, Giancarlo Esposito, who is on fire right now, by the way, just in everything, which is really neat to see. Jose Zuniga, Stockard Channing. It's a really neat cast, and I do remember this, like I said, being sort of not quite an art house, but sort of like not necessarily mainstream, but like that sort of Miramax kind of hit, you know, that would happen from time to time. And, you know, like I said, I just remember being affected by it. And in terms of what's included here now, let's see here. Directed by Wayne Wang, the critically acclaimed filmmaker behind the Joy Luck Club and Chinese Box, and written by award-winning novelist Paul Auster, The Music of Chance. That's also been put out by Imprint, which is a great movie that I was really excited to see get a Blu-ray at all from Imprint, and the only one to date that I know of. This beloved comedy won best first screenplay at the 1996 Independent Spirit Awards. This has an audio commentary by writer Paul Auster, producers Peter Newman and Greg Johnson, and actor Havey Keitel. That's archival. New stuff. 16 going on 30, an interview with actor Harold Perrineau. Splicing Smoke, interview with editor Maisie Hoy. I love that they use editors a lot in their features, because editors are one of the key collaborators in filmmaking, and definitely folks that are underappreciated and underrated in terms of their contribution to films. You know, yes, they have an Academy Award, etc., but I really do feel like it is true, that old saying of like, you make the film 3 times when you write it, shoot it, and edit it. And so if you don't have a great editor, you really, or a great editor can really make a good film a lot better. So anyway, I love that they talk to them. Older featurettes, I think, Running Off to the Circus, Paul Auster on Film, a career-spanning full feature-length interview, which is very cool. And then another new one, Building Brooklyn Cigar Company, interview with production designer Kalina Ivanov. And then Augie's Corner, director Wayne Wang on Smoke, as well as 1995 Berlin International Film Festival press conference, deleted scenes, behind-the-scenes archival featurette. So it's a really classy, full-on special edition of Smoke. Okay, and then Blue in the Face, which is, I always remember being a little more loose, a little more improvisational. It says the popularity of cult comedy Smoke led to the instant sequel written and directed by Paul Auster and Wayne Wang, seeing Harvey Keitel return to his role as Augustus Augie Wren, alongside iconic stars Michael J. Fox, Roseanne Barr, Lou Reed, Mira Sorvino, Lily Tomlin, RuPaul, Jim Jarmusch, and Madonna. One thing I will never forget is Jim Jarmusch has a speech. Like, there's a lot. It's kind of like Jarmusch's Cigarettes and Coffee in a way. I mean, not that it's as vignette-ish as that, but there's a lot of people talking, having cigarettes, smoking, and Jim Jarmusch's obviously a big fan of coffee and cigarettes. And one of his little scenes where he's talking to, I can't remember if he's talking to Augie or who he's talking to, but he's talking about movies when people have like a gun and they're shooting and then run out of bullets and they throw the gun away. And he's always like, why would you do that? Why would you? It's a perfectly good gun. Like, you know, you could, it's silly to throw it away just because it's out of bullets. You know what I mean? Like, and you see that so much in movies. People are just like, you know, and I always thought that was super funny and why nobody had never commented on it. But yeah, very fun. Neat to see Michael J. Fox in this context too. And just an enjoyable but much looser, more episodic sequel. Audio commentary by writer Paul Auster, producers Peter Newman, Greg Johnson, and actor Harvey Keitel. And then new stuff. Can't Stop, Don't Think. Interview with actor Jared Harris. Spine Threads and Texture. Interview with editor Christopher Tellefson. And 2 films for the price of 1 set. Interview with producer Diana Phillips. Also a conversation with Lou Reed. This is an older one. Archival interview with Mel Gorham from 95. Outtakes, which I remember being pretty funny. So yeah, just a nice double set of Smoke and Blue in the Face. Definitely one that's, among movies that I'd sort of forgotten about. Kind of a nice reminder and a nice set. One of the better sets from Imprint this year, I think. Really solid. So, all right, moving on to 8mm. Now, this one is... I can't remember if it's maligned critically. I feel like it didn't do as well as it... I mean, like, I feel like it's a little rough. It's a little dark, if I recall. And so, yeah, I can't remember how I felt about it at the time. I think I thought it was okay, but a little twisted. But apparently did well. They're saying 8mm is the box office smash that stars Nicolas Cage as a private investigator who falls deep into the world of snuff films. Directed by Joel Schumacher, The Lost Boys, and written by Andrew Kevin Walker, which I totally forgot about, which totally explains the darkness. This crime thriller also, Andrew Kevin Walker, of course, wrote Seven famously and other stuff, The Game, and worked with Fincher, and just a very cool screenwriter. This crime thriller also stars Joaquin Phoenix and James Gandolfini, which I do vaguely remember. Private Detective Tom Wells is hired to investigate the authenticity of a reel of 8mm film, which shows a young girl being killed. Who is the girl? Is the film real? Will Tom live to learn the truth? And Ebert says the last 2 words of the screenplay are "save me," and by the time they're said, we know what they mean, which I don't recall about that. So this came out from Scream Factory a while back and doesn't say anything about a new scan. I think, well, it has an audio commentary by Joel Schumacher, director-producer, and the making of 8mm. I think those were both included in the Scream release, but I couldn't find my copy. It also has an interview with director-producer Joel Schumacher from 2019 as well. But, I'm all for more Cage on Blu-ray all over the world, really. So, honestly, I have no issue with this release. This, definitely part of his great run in the 90s he was having. Okay, next up we have The Juror. And this one is another one that is a little vague to me. This is from 1996. Demi Moore and Alec Baldwin light up the screen in this thrilling crime drama from the Academy Award-winning screenwriter of Silence of the Lambs, Ted Talley. That's right. That's why I remember this. Okay. I was getting a little cross with some of the other thrillers that Alec Baldwin was doing around this time. Malice being a big one. I think I crossed that a little bit. I don't know. I know it's totally different, but struggling single mother Annie Laird's assignment to jury duty becomes a nightmarish ordeal when she is targeted by the mob and threatened to help a guilty man go free, while an obsessive hitman is charged with motivating Annie to break the law or killing her if she doesn't. Based on the novel by George Dawes Green, the star-studded cast also includes James Gandolfini, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Lindsay Krause. This one is bare bones in terms of extras, and I think it's been on Blu-ray in the States before, so it's not a premiere, but another one that I don't think has been out on Blu-ray in a little bit, so that's nice. And then we do have a Blu-ray premiere in this group here, and that is Men of Respect from 1990. Worldwide premiere on Blu-ray. And this one, I don't remember this either, and I feel like I saw this when I was younger. William Shakespeare's Macbeth receives the mobster treatment in this 1990 crime drama starring John Turturro as a mafia hitman killing his way to the top. A fearless mobster wins the respect and admiration of his powerful godfather by assassinating the leaders of a rival family, but the prodding of his ambitious wife and the prophecy of a ghetto gypsy convince him to murder the godfather and claim his crown. With stellar sporting performances by legendary actors Rod Steiger, Stanley Tucci, Dennis Farina, and Peter Boyle, this bloodthirsty adaptation delivers a gripping blend of Shakespearean tragedy and gritty underworld intrigue. This is another bare bones release, but it's really nice to see this one get a Blu-ray. Kind of a forgotten movie considering the wattage of the star power involved. And written and directed by William Riley, a director I'm not familiar with off the top of my head. It's listed as 1990, but it also says 1991 on the side here. So it's one of those early 90s. John Turturro in a really hot spot at that point as well. But yeah, definitely one that I'm curious to check out, as it doesn't really ring a bell, but seems part of a nice group of films that Imprint has put together here. So anyway, that'll do it for this round of Imprint releases for their July bundle, July 2024. Definitely looking forward to stuff they've got coming. As of this recording, they've announced 3 of the 4 4Ks that they I think they're not quite their first 4Ks, but they've got some cool stuff coming, including Convoy on 4K and Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, also getting a 4K release. So definitely keep an eye on their socials. They're announcing new stuff all the time, and it's very interesting and exciting stuff. Anyway, thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.